What is Musk's angle on this?
Good afternoon, Mark. So he's talking about national security, but there's a whole lot of money riding on this. Musk testified about this issue before Congress just a couple of weeks ago while sitting right next to his biggest competitor in the commercial space market, United Launch Alliance chief Michael Gass. Currently, ULA, a joint venture of Lockheed Martin and Boeing, has a monopoly on the $70 billion military satellite launch market because they're the only rocket maker certified to operate. Musk, who wants very much to break into the program, pointed out ULA uses Russian engines in its Atlas V rocket, which he said poses supply and national security risk, especially given the current state of U.S.-Russia relations. Musk says it makes no sense to reward Russia with hundreds of millions of dollars for rocket engines. He called the whole thing crazy. Mark?
So how legitimate are his comments? How over-reliant is the United States?
Yeah, so as self-serving as his comments may have been, his argument is, in fact, solid. Analyst Chris Quilty says, we won the space race 4 decades ago, but since we put the first man on the moon, the space program really hasn't been able to figure out what purpose it serves. In that time, the Russians have overtaken us. Their engines power rockets we use to send our cargo into space and to launch our national security satellites, and we're paying Russia nearly $71 million per seat to the International Space Station. Analysts say it's important that we not be at the mercy of any foreign supplier, Russia included. And Defense Secretary Hagel told a congressional panel last week that Russia's actions will lead the Pentagon to review the use of Russian-made engines. All that said, though, Mark, the industry still expects the U.S.-Russia space relationship to remain intact, even if the U.S. imposes sanctions.
I got to tell you, my head snapped up when I heard that figure, $71 million per seat.
Yeah, $71 million.
What if Russia did cut off the supply of rocket engines? How would that affect ULA?
Yeah, so as unlikely as that would be, again, $71 million is hard to turn down, and they're probably going to keep the relationship going. Michael Gass, CEO of United Launch Alliance, says he has enough rocket engines stockpiled for at least 2 years of launches, and that they have the capacity to build more themselves if necessary. Now, their spokesperson says it would take 3 to 5 years to produce the engines in the U.S., and they're looking at a new American engine as an alternative. But according to one Raymond James analyst, it might not be possible for ULA to produce the engines fast enough to avoid a gap in the rocket's availability. So you can bet that SpaceX, the only company that can claim its rockets are completely made here in the U.S., is hoping it can capitalize on this moment.